Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Back Yourself podcast. I'm Hussein. Let me get the mic in for those in the comment section blowing up at me. The Back Yourself podcast is here. Hussein, Christopher in the lab. Short, sharp, and sweet for a 4-game round.
5.
Essentially. No, well, we'll talk Origin later. That's
No. It is actually 5.
Who's the 5th game?
Well, no.
Dragons.
There's 5 games.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, that just shows you how much I've been paying attention.
Well,
to
because
this weekend,
one of them, I think Matt said it in the comments. We're not counting nights as a game.
Why is there 5 games?
Well, one of them is
Isn't
nights.
Origin round always 4?
No, that's 5.
I guess because there's 17 teams in now. We get to the thrill of watching a 5th game of this fucking...
The last game, anyway.
Anyway. When coming into rounds like these, historically, the Back Yourself podcast is on fucking fire.
We're usually really good.
The punting side of the NRL, this is a beautiful round filled with opportunities because if you're in the loops, you're keeping up with whispers around the league, you're sharp when the Origin lineups come out, you know who's going to be there for their team and who's not, and the bookies do release these lines prior to team lists of Origin being announced. So some of these look-aheads, I'm just going to warn you guys, it's out of control.
Well,
and those that paid attention to our fucking blabber in the review would have seen us live being like, how the fuck is that like 4.5?
Correct.
Which we will allude to once the games come. But any comments from you before we dive into
I feel like, but also gives you opportunity, even if you've missed the boat, that I still believe some of these spreads are still wrong.
With some of these games, there's no boat. It's
it's like
shipwrecked. It's waiting for you to jump
They don't
on.
know what to put it because taking out key players one game out of a blue moon is very hard to put a spread properly from a bookie's perspective.
And as far as punting goes, if the books know everything, it makes it harder for the punters. Some would think that it makes it harder for the punters when you don't know, but what you don't know, the books don't know either. So there's more leeway for some mispricing. And let's jump straight into the mispricing with the Dolphins going to Sydney, their stomping ground, where they're 1-500 against the spread, taking on the Bulldogs, essentially backups with Matt Burton and Kickow. And it's everyone's favourite fucking segment, ins and outs.
You might need an hour
for
this.
20-minute job. But before I do that, shout out to Matt, shout out to Chris Creas, shout out to Stephen Crichton, who's not going to be lacing them up for the Dogs. He'll be in a different shade of blue this week. But
oh my God.
The Bullfrogs, essentially is what we'll call them this round, are running out. Connor Tracy, Blake Wilson, Bronson Jerry. Tough is in the centres, guys. Shout out to Matt. One of the Back Yourself favourite players of all time is going to be matched up against Herbie Farnworth, which I think that in itself should make this game a pick'em. But Montoya, you got Burton and Sexton. Obviously, that doesn't change. Now, this is where it gets a bit tricky for the Bullfrogs. Lepoy Hopoy is starting prop alongside Curran, who returns.
He's playing?
He's back. Kickow's in there and he's captaining the side, which... why is Burton not captain? But anyway. Harry Hayes is starting on the edge with Bailey Hayward, the greatest utility of all time. Wow. At the lock. Now, this is where it gets go. Turpin's back.
Yeah, I heard this. Yeah.
Moran, Sam Hughes, and Luke Smith.
Sam Hughes is back too.
Yes, he's back. Obviously, a lot of fucking movement there for the Dogs, but essentially, I want to say they have probably 8 or 9 starting players not in the squad between Carraz, Crichton, Kurt Mann, Preston, Max King, who
someone got
picked,
smashed last week as well.
Tupanua, who's serving his third game of a 200-game suspension.
Well, lucky Curran and Hughes came back.
That's 2, I think, massive ins. Which is probably why it's kind of held its price.
I'm going to say my case a bit later. It's just...
Yeah, Salika Fafita's out as well.
It's convenient that they're back this week. Like...
Well,
do you
get to that after I go to the Dolphins lineup.
Yeah.
Jake Alvarella will play fullback for the Dolphins.
Smash his old
hammer
team.
Time on Maroon's duty to smash New South Wales. Max Fianai comes into the centres for his debut as a Dolphin. As if he didn't cause Dragons enough damage. Now he's
why would they just stop Fide on Taff? They cancel each other out.
Because that's just unwatchable on Thursday night. Tommy Gilbert, unfortunately, has a pec tear, which will see him out for about 3 months of footy. Unfortunate news for him, obviously coming back from a shoulder Rico and an ACL Rico. I hope he gets well soon. Connolly, the Melu promoted to the starting side. And Oren Keeley added to the bench. Fini Fuiaki has been selected for Queensland extended squad, but is expected to play. And Sean O'Sullivan is listed as 18th man for the 50th game in a row.
What extended? Up to 28? Is that what they...
He's the 73rd Queensland player played. Okay. So, we as the Back Yourself podcast have sent Dolphins out as 14.5-point underdogs. Now they are 8.5-point underdogs. Obviously, Chris, I'll hope you would agree with me that 14.5, which
was way too many. Yeah,
was fucking nuts. I don't think we expected to see Max King and Kurt Mann out as well, which kind of makes this a cluster injury / representation situation for the Dogs. But I suppose the question now is 8.5 fair, considering what Dolphins fucking inbreds are running out.
Well, I mean, it just goes to my point. It's convenient Hunt, Curran and Sam Hughes are both back. To my point saying, I don't think they're 100%. And Dogs have been struggling through the forwards before Origin period. And now, after Origin period, like now you got Max King, who's, congrats to him to getting selected. Like, shout out to Max King. Like, he's deserved it. But it just comes bad at time for Dogs because you don't have any forwards. And then, like, it seems strange to me that all of a sudden Curran and Hughes are back. So it just says to me that they've brought them back a little bit early, which could be fine. But I don't... If it was a team like... Let's say Manly. Manly have also brought a player back this week, convenient enough. But let's say Manly were bringing back 2 forwards. I'd be like, all right. But the way that Dogs play, to have injured forwards in your team is never a good idea. And you need... The way Dogs play is 2-3 in a tackle. And if Sam Hughes is a little bit slower because of his injury or Curran gets up a bit slower because of his injury, it's not like... You can't keep the continuity of Dogs. And they're already like struggling for forwards elsewhere as well. It's not like Max King is still playing or Kurt Mann's still playing that are healthy. It's like, okay, they're the reserves and then the people that are coming back are still unhealthy. So I wish I didn't have already the upset alert of the century later because I would do Dolphins because even without Hammer, they're pretty dangerous. They still have their halves. Katoa has been playing great regardless of how awful they are. And their forwards are going to have a field day, to be honest. I know Gilbert's out, I know Platt's out, but even on paper, you can be like, all right, the Dolphins forwards are just better. And if I'm saying Curran and Sam Hughes aren't 100%, I can't tip against them. I'm going to take the Dolphins, even at this price. If you didn't get 14, I'll take 8.
Okay, what's the fair value price for this game?
4?
4.5? Okay. Considering they're 8.5 now, had all the Dog starters been in there, what the fuck would this line be?
Oh,
what's like
ridiculous?
What are all those players worth? Would this be like fucking 18?
Or is it that? Or is how much Hammer worth?
Fuck Hammer. This guy does nothing week after week.
Okay, look. This is the other thing on the Dolphins side. Likely, if Gilbert, hopefully gets a speedy recovery, if Gilbert was there, he would get selected for Queensland anyway.
Yeah, I know.
So it didn't really matter. Like, it's the same
It doesn't matter. He's not playing. Sure, that fucks him for the next 3 months. But as far as this week goes, he wasn't going to be there.
He wasn't going to be there in the first place.
And neither was Hammer.
So it's the team that they expected to play out there.
Yeah.
Against a team that doesn't expect these players to be out there. There's only one way to look at it.
And I think because of the cluster injury to Dogs, they have a harder time filling those spots because they're already like playing a lot of backups. So Hammer's out, but I feel like Avarillo's played fullback heaps and he's pretty decent there. The Dogs fans would know when he was in the centres.
He would love it.
He's a good player, but I'm not sure plugging in fucking the accountant Taff in the centres is going to do any. Like, you go from arguably the best centre in the league to literally the worst centre in the league from one week.
And I think Wilson's in there too, who's a decent winger, but
he's not Carraz, but he's pretty good. That's fine. But honestly, I took Dolphins because the spread was just fucking ridiculous. And this is why I can't seem to get on premium because I guarantee you not many people in Australia are riding a Dolphins 14.5 ticket in a Thursday night game projected to be raining and Dogs, they've been up for a while, yada, yada, yada.
I still think 8.
Outside of that, there's nothing good about Dolphins.
No, there is nothing good about them.
They could easily run out there and lose by 10 to this Dogs lineup, which is the concerning thing. Essentially, Dogs... That left edge is mostly intact.
Not really.
They got Jerry, Kikau, and Burden there. So that's...
The winger doesn't really matter.
The winger's not that... Well, it's Montoya who was there anyway. So have Dolphins shown me through their pitiful defense that if they go down to Sydney and they're not physically up for it, that they... Like, you're going to be like, oh, Dogs will struggle to make meters and they probably can't score because, Crichton and Carraz are out. But is there anything to suggest to me that Dolphins can actually defend... The left-hand shape of...
Isn't Max Feeney going to be out there? That's diabolical.
Yeah, I know.
They're
running Max Feeney out at kick out.
I mean,
But on the other
these guys go left, like they're going to score, right?
I know. But I think Dogs have been able to prove that they can plug and play a lot of like random players and get the job done. Is there a line in the sand where it's like, all right, you guys just have too much out now, maybe?
Well, look, all right, I agree with your point, and they're coming first for a reason. They can plug in anyone they want, but the Dogs' right edge defense is going to get cooked.
It's atrocious. Yeah.
Okay, as a team, they defend really well, so I'm not going to be like, oh, they're going to be as bad as Dolphins, the other side, because they're probably not going to be. But if you just look at the players, they're actually worse than what the Dolphins are playing.
What are they running out? Sexton, Hayes, Tough, and Wilson. Probably 4 players that haven't defended one tackle next to each other in their lives.
Yeah.
So,
can Dolphins execute on that, though? That's the problem.
Yeah, I think they can.
Based on last week, I think they can.
It's Nicarima and Herbie and...
They have enough. And Katoa, they have enough.
Yeah.
They have enough.
You should be able to take advantage of the extent of the players out for Dogs, but is that enough for Dolphins to go out and win, in your opinion? Like, this is implying that if Gilbert and Hammer played, they'd still be underdogs. I don't think those two are worth 8 points.
No, they're not. But in the weather, I think this is a Dogs weather game. So I think they'll cover the 8, but won't win.
I agree with you. I think this is your typical cover and lose.
Yeah,
situation.
I think this is a big cover and lose. Look, for minor premiership purposes, I hope they do lose. But
same.
But I don't think they will.
Sorry, Doggies fans, but you guys have become the team that everyone wants to see lose one because you just haven't fucking lost one.
Yeah, but I just don't think this way.
Wear it like a badge of honor, but I would like to see Dolphins go out and win, but I don't trust these cons.
No, I don't trust it. There would be a lot of teams in this scenario that I would rather take in this scenario.
I would take Manly with no one over Dolphins.
Oh, yeah.
Because if Manly ran out like Cole, let's say Turbo's playing with Cola, what Manly are running out this week, I'll be like, these cunts are going to win.
Oh, yeah. But would they be even... It would be like 4, though. Fuck, it would be even closer to...
I'd take 4.
It would be closer to 2.
I might even take Pick'em is what I'm saying. But I'm at a point where my trust in Dolphins is so low, I'm like, are these cunts even going to cover 8.5?
Yeah, true.
You know?
I agree.
So that kind of tells you what you need to know about them. But moving swiftly on to the Friday night fucking blockbuster, if you want to call it that.
This is also a swift fucking preview.
Isn't? I feel like there's a little bit to talk about. So how about we talk ins and outs first? Mitch Moses and Zach Lomax are now in the Blues camp. A backline reshuffle scenes. Footy Dean, shout out to Matt, coming to his 5th NRL game of the season. I wonder what their record is with him at halfback.
5.
With Sean Russell moves to the wing and Samrani starts in the centres.
Holy shit.
Fuck me. Back Roma, Kelma Tuolangi's back from suspension, which pushes Moretti to the bench. Dury also gets a spot on the bench after dropping to New South Wales Cup after a late shift last week.
Didn't he start 2 weeks ago?
Wasn't he supposedly meant to be starting after his gun try from 2 weeks ago?
Oh.
Jason Riles is playing chess, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, he's playing the offensive
and Adam O'Brien's playing checkers. On the Sea Eagle side of things, Jake Arthur will steer the ship in the absence of Daly Cherry Evans.
He's going to beat his
probably get shipwrecked if he's steering it.
He's going to beat his old team.
While Jazz Tavanga shifts to lock in place of Jake Trebojevic, Jake Simpkins starts at hooker after coming off the bench last week. Matt Lodge has been named on the interchange for his first NRL game since last year's semi-final.
And more importantly...
Amali Alakwatu will be released to play for the Sea Eagles, due to being on the extended bench. Lachlan Croker makes his return from a knee injury on the bench. Tom Trebojevic will captain the side.
Yeah.
Which, what a luxury it is having him playing club footy on this fucking big week. But essentially, we've seen this shift a little bit back and forth. Now that lineups are out and intact, we've steadied at a spread of 6.5 at CommBank Stadium. Is that it?
Yeah, this could be a record. Depending on the weather, they're going to destroy them. Just look 1 to 5.
That's really short.
Just look 1 to 5 right now.
Manly are full strength outside of Cherry and fucking Jake.
Cherry, yeah.
And these cunts don't have... These cunts run out Samrani and Russell.
Yeah.
And now they think they're good because they smash Knights.
I don't think there's a number close enough for these cunts. It should be
6.5.
It should be 10.
They're going to destroy them.
It's just the weather. That's the only thing that could fuck them.
The
rain, like...
I'm sorry, Parry.
Look, Seabass, I'll tell you.
Look, shout out to Seabass, the ambassador,
yeah.
Probably wearing blue and gold as we speak. Shout out to Joel. I want your tip in the comment section because you've been on a bit of a run, but I'm sorry. I know you guys had a good run last week.
How are they going to score?
How the fuck are they going to keep up with?
How are they going to score in general?
I actually can't believe Turbo and Homoli are running out there. That's actually unfair that Para has to deal with that this weekend.
Well, it just shows how good New South Wales is, right? So
this is essentially
it's full strength Manly. That's the issue.
Close to it.
Well, without their forwards, right? But we saw last week they played a better forward pack and they contained Cowboys.
No, I'm sorry, bro.
That 1 to 5 is fucked. Like they're gonna roll them.
The 1 to 6 is the same as it always is, and they all fucking play gun.
And Croker's back, so
yeah. I'm sorry, Para. It's unfair to you guys that conveniently you lose Moses and Lomax, and these guys fucking are running out turbo. Like, how's that?
Yeah, it's not.
That does nothing good for you guys.
Well, this was the knife's edge game. This actually opened at Pick'em, but the knife edge was Lomax not getting picked and Turbo getting picked on the wing, which would have flipped everything.
We didn't, at this point, we weren't 100% sure that Moses was going to get the nod over Luai, because it sounded like they definitely were going to give the 7 to Cleary.
Yeah.
So as this opens at Pick'em, I think Kuntz, like, with a bit of an idea of which way Laurie Daly was going to go, probably took, Manly at Pick'em, you serious? Jumped all over that, got to about 4, and then once the news came out, I was, like, refreshing the books, seeing like, okay, when are we going to get to like 8 or 10.5? And we just never got there, which is insane.
There's only one line going out from it's open that's gone ridiculous. I actually think that one is like getting to the point that it's a bit too far, because like everyone's still taking it. This one still hasn't moved for whatever reason. Like it stayed at 5 for a long, long time, and today like they were like, oh, Samrani's starting, let's make it 6, but it should be 10.
They'll never win.
They don't have the points in them. They don't have the defense in them.
This Para lineup is the one that 4 weeks ago I was calling for Jason Ryle's job. Yeah. I'm sorry, like
they're awful.
There's just not enough there to compete.
Nah, I don't think they're a chance. Yep. And same old Manly, like they'll now destroy whoever's in front of them. So the boys are back in town. The real boys. This is game of the round. Right. If there was a game of the round,
if you want to go get a drink of water, go chuck a piss. I'm going to need you in the trenches with me for a little while, because
you know what I'm going to say.
The Penrith Panthers return to the eighth wonder of the world, their fortress.
No, it's in Bathurst.
Which is in Bathurst.
They never win there.
I wonder who that favours more. We'll have to get to that after the team list, because a host of changes for one of these teams and not that many changes for the other one. The Penrith Panthers have Brad Schneider running out there at halfback instead of Nathan Cleary due to his absence for the Origin game, along with Dylan Edwards, which means Tom Jenkins replaces Brian To'o on the wing. Casey McLean comes into the centres. Luke Garner moves to back row. And Lindsay Smith goes to lock. Matt Eisenhuth starts up prop. Excuse me. Three ugly faces on the bench in Luke Somerton, Preston Ricky, and Jack Cole. On the night side of things, dynamic 5'8" Fletcher Sharp has been shifted to fullback in the absence of Kalen Ponga, which means they're running out the dirt halves pairing of Tyson Gamble and Jack Cogger, so they can really, really, really go out there and not score. Carl McCarthy comes into the centres for a second NRL game, so Dylan Lucas returns to the back row, Thomas Kant goes to the bench, and Leonardo returns from his head knock to start in the prop instead of Jacob Saifidi, who was out with a calf injury. Jack Hetherington.
He was playing Origin 2 weeks ago.
Jack Hetherington is dropped to 18th man for the Blues and can't play.
What's the spread now?
We're back.
Are we back to 6?
We're back to 8.5.
Oh, it was 7 for a second.
There's been major pushback in the favour of Penrith. People are lining up to lay 7 points with that lineup. Essentially, the question boils down to, are Knights that big of a pile of dirt to be $3.10 to the Penrith backups?
No.
Who have never won in this Origin.
I truly, if gun to my head, I would rather take the Dogs line than take the Penrith line. I see Dogs
easily
have more chance.
Obviously, yeah.
I actually think this is obviously going to be my upset alert.
Sound the alarm.
It's easy. It's honestly, this team couldn't beat South.
Can I tell you something really funny?
And this team's worse.
Can I tell you something really funny?
Knights might lose.
When you were like, I'm going to do the upset alert of the decade, and you were like, oh, this keeps pushing out. I thought you were actually going to take Roosters.
No. I wouldn't wish anything
that
upon
would have made me laugh. Anyway, continue.
This is the team that lost to South. Do we remember when they were 10.5 and we sat here being like, how is this 10 against this team without Cleary? Yet alone, this team's worse.
Yeah, no Yo, no To'o.
At least they had Yo and Martin last time. They didn't even have that last time. This team's even worse than that. Look, Souths are better than Knights, and that's why was 10 and now is 7 or 8, whatever number it is. But Knights have to fucking win a game. And Knights, like, as shit as they are, and last week was an anomaly, I want to say. I hope Adam O'Brien's drilled into them. Defensively, they're actually not bad. And that's where my concern is for Penrith. These guys can't score. And Knights, like, even though they can't score intrinsically, if they keep Penrith to, like, under 10, I can trust Knights to score 12. I think they're going to win outright.
Where do the points come for Penrith?
I don't know.
Can you just go out there and concede 24 to Blake?
They genuinely could score 0.
Yeah, I know.
They have nothing.
I'm sorry. Like,
even just forward pack wise, they're going to roll them.
No, they won't roll them. But they won't, like, they should
They should roll them.
Like, you're looking at forward pack wise. Moses Leota, who's their best forward, respectable. Mitch Kenny, Matt Eisenhuth, Preston Ricky, Liam Henry, and Lindsay Smith. That's your starting pack. Up against Tyson Frizzell, Crossland, Leo Thompson, Dylan Lucas, Pierce Paul, Adam Elliott.
Knights are full strength.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Come on, Knights. Essentially, this is just saying,
Kaylin's...
Knights, you cunts got raped by Para, and now you don't have Kaylin or Bradman or Marju, I guess. But at least they're getting, like, Thompson back.
And you're getting 8.
You're getting 8 instead of having to be a pick-up.
8, and, you know... A big factor this week across Sydney is just going to be the weather because it's fucking ridiculous. It's raining every single day. Bathurst is going to be literally a mudslide probably. I don't know why they decided to play that game there.
If I was a sports book, I would put this record under, like the total at a record low. Yeah. I would put it at 30.5.
No one score.
No one's scoring.
What's the unders?
44.
What?
Yeah.
In what capacity? Knights can't score.
In the capacity that Fletcher Sharp fucking scores 10 tries.
Sure.
Okay. Truly,
Penrith could give up.
You know what? Last week, Knights, you were fucking horrible. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat anything. You guys were fucking dirt. But as far as your headspace, this will tell us like where you guys are at in your season.
Yeah.
If you go out and don't cover this 7 or 8,
done.
6,
Last.
5, 4, I know you've given up on the year. But if you go out there and
win,
you should honestly win.
You should win.
I don't know if I'm just not believing that the price is right or... It seems silly to be like, oh, you should win. Like, that should be the expectation when you're $3.30. But when I look at this Penrith lineup, how many times have these guys been favoured in these Origin rounds and they go out there and score 8 and lose every fucking time?
Yeah, exactly.
Last year to Cowboys, to Dragons. The years prior, they used to lose to fucking Tigers
every year.
And they had more players than this.
Yeah,
I mean,
correct.
they're really running out fucking nothing.
Yeah, well, we're talking about those years when Burton used to not get selected, Kickout used to not be selected.
Yeah.
Crichton never used to be selected, and they all used to still play. Like,
it would be like, oh, Cleary and Luai are gone. Like, we can't score anymore.
Yeah.
Even Edwards used to fucking
to play because he used to be Teddy.
And now you're running out like Jenkins and fucking... Literally, if they can just defend Isaac Tungo, I'm pretty sure Penrith won't score.
Yeah.
That's a big ask of Knights, I know. Don't
Come
get
on,
me wrong.
Knights.
But come on.
Adam O'Brien, do something. Look, and maybe someone playing this, the only thing I can think of playing this is Penrith are off a bye. But
this is not Penrith.
But
it's Enrith.
How can I say this? Adam O'Brien's an idiot, right? Ivan isn't. Ivan would have most likely played a lot, like trained with this team. So like the Dogs' perspective, like you're saying, that right edge hasn't played with each other in fucking ever, right? Penrith, because they had the week before Origin off, they knew what they were going to fucking run out there, most likely.
Yeah, but does it matter when you're running out poo?
Well, it doesn't matter if you're running out poo, in your opinion, but you are playing a team that is most likely prepared. So if Knights are fucking not switched on, they could easily not cover 8.
Mate.
It's Knights. They're going to be switched on.
Penrith literally run out Cleary and Yo and Edwards and To'o.
Yeah,
week after week, and they look shit out.
Yeah, I get it. But they know this week they were not going to have those players. So,
I know, but they know every week they have those players.
And they still
can't. They can't even fucking beat Cowboys.
I see your
which
point.
made them favourite. And now you're running out Schneider with Cole to come off the bench and play with him in some capacity.
Was Talal not playing?
And you're laying 8.5. This is insane.
Is Laurie playing fullback?
Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake. They've
bad. Never covered with him there.
He's so bad.
I know.
And Cogger's going to come back for vengeance.
No, truly. How many episodes have we done on this podcast talking footy?
20.
Over 100. If Knights don't cover, I'm going to go the nth degree of nuclear. There was the Roosters quit job in the prelim.
Wait.
The Sharks quit job.
It hasn't come up in a while. It's been about 60. Is your hair on it? Can you put your hair on? No, it's
God
true.
damn it, no. Nah, I can't. Not Knights, bro. Because I know.
All right, put it on Roosters then.
Honestly, if Penrith score 10, that might be enough to cover against Knights.
No, they could score 1.
Because, all right, which halves would you rather have?
Cogger
And Gamble?
Cogger left. He's got to be better.
Cogger and Gamble or
Cogger.
Blaze and
Cogger.
Schneider?
100% Cogger. Any side with Cogger.
So you have the edge in the forwards, the bench, and the halves.
It's backline. Like, without Marju.
At least we have Gagai.
Yeah, no, but they have Tungo.
Sure.
That McCarthy and then
We have Fletcher Sharp. He's better than Laurie.
Fletcher Hunt's playing.
All right, is he worse than Casey McLean?
Yeah.
I don't know. He's pretty bad.
He's pretty bad.
Is he worse than Jenkins? Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck, that Knights left side. Oh my god.
I can't wait for Knights.
God. Seriously, Knights.
Get it together.
I'm sending you guys a formal message. Wake up. This is out of control.
I agree. It's out of control.
Moving on swiftly. Well, you can't really move on from Knights swiftly, but this is your upset alert.
Yeah, it is. What the next one's going to be?
You truly think Knights can go out there and win?
Yeah. What the next one's going to be? Upset alert?
They'll never win. All right, moving on swiftly. Shout out Barnsey. Shout out to Daz.
Shout out J-Maz.
Shout out to J-Maz, if you even want one. Roosters, coming 13th, have 5 players out for Origin, which is really... They have been dealing with this for about a decade. Normally in the Origin rounds, traditionally it was Melbourne, Broncos, Roosters, Cowboys as of late. You just know, they're going to get hammered with selection.
I just want to say the NRL...
No matter how bad Cowboys are.
The NRL should really... I think I read somewhere today that the Roosters don't have any buys pre-Origin. It's pretty dumb from the NRL.
Roosters should have a bye this week, in my opinion.
Yeah, so, the NRL, stitches them up. Why the fuck did they not have a bye pre-Origin in any of the weeks?
Right,
that doesn't make any sense.
Right, think about...
they're going to get selected.
Think about who has a bye this round. It's none of the players with 50 fucking... Penrith.
Brisbane, that's it.
Brisbane, but they don't even deserve a bye. And Melbourne, who
don't
they
care.
lose? Munster, and that's it.
They don't even...
They'll be fine. Penrith, Roosters, and Cowboys.
Yeah,
they're gonna get hammered.
And if you think
Cowboys have a bye,
about it, even Manly's playing. You typically usually
Normally
get fucked over as well.
They wouldn't have Turbo.
And Para, you can argue they get fucked over this week as well. So
but Para, that's their own fault for being a 2-player team.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on. So we got 5 out for the Roosters, which sees Dom Young is back, along with Makatoa, Feketi, Loelu, and Lasalo into the 17. Young will play his first game since round 7 on the wing, after saying he wants to go over and play with Knights, but he saw what Knights dished out and he's like, I changed my mind. Nawanga Nitawase moves back to centre to replace... They don't even have Robert Toya, for God's sake.
Yeah, I know.
Which is just insane, but congratulations to him.
Good. Yeah, congrats to him.
Back row, Nat Butcher returns with 3 games out for a knee injury and Loelu makes his NRL debut off the bench. Ethan King is the 18th man, and the Rodwell brothers, Toby and Thomas, I don't give a shit.
What to 17?
On the Sharks side of things, Jesse Raymond has been named despite suffering an eye injury against the Storm, but Sam Stonestreet is out for 6 to 8 weeks with a high-grade syndesmosis injury. Moani Haradi comes into the back 5 to stitch up the Sharks fans. Teague Wilton is pushing for a return from a shoulder injury and is part of the extended squad, but Tom Hazelton remains sidelined with a sternum problem. He's not confident that he could score this week, so his sternum hurts. A spread of 10.5. This was one of the other laughable spreads that, again,
3?
For those that joined us in the review, we were like, Sharks are minus 3.5. Is that it? They should be higher than that against a full-strength Roosters team, let alone fucking...
And it's not even at Allianz. It's at Gosford or some shit.
That's insane to me that they opened it there. I don't know what the fuck the book.
Well,
even you had an opportunity post lineups to lay 4, 5 at 6. It was even still value. Now it's 10.5. Is 10.5 fair? Is that it?
Is that it?
Yeah, truly. All right.
I look. The scariest team to play this week is Cronulla. If after they beat Melbourne, they're literally full strength. They're literally gonna I actually think this should be 16. They're dead.
The only reason it's not is because much the whole Roosters backline's there.
No, it's not. Robert Toya's out.
Tedesco, Tupou, Billy Smith, Nawanga Nitawase, and Dom Young.
Yeah, which is better than the Sharks
and
one.
Savala. So more or less, the 1 to 7's there. The reason it's 10.5 is Makatoa, Docker Clay, Feketi, Egan Butcher, Seo Wong, Victor Radley. It's atrocious forward pack. with
An atrocious
Lawelu,
bench.
Lasalo, Blake Steep, and Nat Butcher to come off the bench against Atkinson, Talakai, Hamlin, Ueli, Calhoun.
Yeah.
Fanua Blake's there. Nicora's there.
McInnes is there.
McInnes is there.
Brayley's there.
Like, it's just a mismatch
And they still have Hines.
of massive proportions. So,
Yeah.
truly, gun to my head, I would lay 10.5.
I would still lay 10. Yeah.
These guys literally just beat Melbourne last week, and now you're running out essentially a C-grade fucking forward pack.
It's a New South Wales Cup team. Truly.
From 8 onwards, yeah.
Yeah,
literally,
like,
yeah.
There's no one there that you can be like, oh, yeah, they
I guess
would.
you'd say Radley from reputation, but if he's like,
Nah.
he's literally by himself in the forwards.
Yeah, against like these guys. And they already have a better forward anyway.
Yeah.
They have Adden. So they have one of the best props in the game.
I think this is short, sharp, and sweet. I don't see
I can't argue anything for Roosters.
I don't see any reason or rhyme that you would. I guess you could argue it's a letdown spot for Sharks after beating Manly in Melbourne and then going playing. Like, you run on the field and you see 5 players you've never seen in your life.
True.
So like, is that like, all right? Well,
Yeah, Cronulla, like,
could Roosters cover and lose for no reason?
They
in this
could,
stupid sport?
but they did that last week.
I guess, but what should happen is Sharks go out there and win 28-10 and leave us alone.
I'll be surprised
32-10,
if
sure.
I would be surprised if Roosters scored 10.
Well, like
Their scoring is like
the backline's there, right? Let's say they get 2 garbage tries. One kick to Tupou and fucking James does something. Sure.
Yeah.
But missing Collins, Watson, Spencer,
yeah. Is Collins starting?
Robert Toya.
Is Collins
No, he's
starting?
coming off the bench.
Oh,
Robert
okay.
Toya. That's just too many outs for this team. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah. They're already like Sam Walker's not even there to save them. Like, I don't know. I think this should be. It was very short. 10 is probably like where people are going to be like, oh, should I
you
be
argue?
sharp and take Roosters? But I still don't think it's enough. Like,
Yeah.
it needs to be 12 or 14.
It was one thing. A lot of these similar players ran out when they beat Penrith, but I feel like that was lightning in a bottle. That's not like you can't just run out part-timers and keep winning.
And also, they didn't have Edwards and stuff. This is literally outside of Stone Street, full strength Cronulla. Like, and Stone Street, like, I'm sorry, but you probably won't come back into the team when you come back.
Yeah. I feel like that's Sione's spot.
Yeah,
and
Sione will come
he's
back
just holding
by
down
that
the fort,
point.
which is
So,
good.
yeah.
I'm
I'm surprised Ramian's playing.
I'm sorry. Like, there's no reason to take Roosters.
No, there isn't. All right, game of the round, technically.
Will you be annoyed if Cronulla don't cover?
Nah, as long as they win.
I can't see Roosters winning.
I can't
at
see
all.
Roosters
It's
winning.
Like literally
Look, if
impossible.
they don't cover, then the letdown spots happen. Get it out of the way, right?
But don't like fuck it up and lose. That's
No. They can't lose to this shit. No way.
Yeah, agreed. All right, game of the round.
Yeah.
Short round, but the Wars are hosting the Canberra Raiders.
My was.
Essentially, yeah. Versus my Raiders. Shout out to Charles Crew and shout out to all my G's out there. Hope you guys are loving life.
Yeah, shout out to the G's.
Second on the ladder in what is a top 4 clash, which I'm sure not many would have been able to say by even round 6 or 7. I think only in the last couple of weeks, both of these teams have really shot for the Stars. But a couple of changes for the Warriors. Obviously, a cluster injury and out suspensions in the front row with
Barnett going Origin.
Barnett going to the New South Wales, who's starting for us, by the way, and Fisher Harris out after smashing the shit out of someone in the head in the last 10 minutes of last week.
Fair enough.
So, Bunty Fall returns from a knee injury and Jackson Ford returns from concussion to fill those 2 holes. So that's just 2 starting front rowers. Ali Leotalo is listed among the reserves as he looks to return from an ankle injury suffered in round 8. So that's a bit of good news in the back line for the
Well,
Wales.
everyone's back.
On the Raiders side of things, not much has changed. Try-scoring machine Hudson Young is chasing Origin glory with the Blues, which means my boy Sasangi will move into the back row after his
Raiders.
gun try from last week, with Noah Martin joining the bench for his NRL debut. So we've seen this fluctuate a little bit from 2.5. I think
1.5.
both those front rows being out for the Wars has this at 1.5. Who's better, Chris? Who is better? The Wars or the Raiders?
I think the Raiders are better, but it's a different team without their second rowers, for sure. And Raiders feed off Hudson and Matty Nicholson like he made it his own on the
killing
other
it.
edge, right? So both of them not being there gives me concerns.
Capel's captain, by the way.
The Warriors, on the other hand, like
Halasima.
they did not have Fisher Harris for a significant period of time and kept winning. So Fisher-Harris is not my issue. But both him and Barnett, it gets to a point like, who the fuck's actually running out there,
You
right?
probably need one of them.
You need one of them. Barnett played a lot of those games. He didn't. The back line does look much better. Raiders are also 1-7, I believe, from the back as well. So it's basically the best versus the best, whatever they have, right? I think Leotau, you were saying, I don't even know where he fucking plugs in. I guess for Capewell, and Capewell goes to edge back row or some shit.
That would help a lot.
But I don't know if where the fuck's Capewell going to play? Wing.
I think what will happen, if Leotala comes back, he'll play centre. Capel will go into the back row. Niokore will start in the front row.
Yeah, he's played prop before.
And they'll bring Jackson Ford off the bench to do God knows what.
Yeah, to come on and score. But the Raiders front rows are still there. This is a hard game. Which one am I going to realistically fade? I've been fading Warriors this entire time.
I feel like this is your nightmare
but
game.
Like, they could... I don't think Raiders are that bright either. That's the problem.
I know you do.
That's why I'm like, well, Warriors should really beat them, to be honest. But I don't know.
All right.
I think Metcalf has been playing so great he can. The only concern I have from a Warriors perspective is a long kicking game of Fogarty, which is just going to get a whole lot longer with the players he has. But I can't take Raiders and I can't take Warriors, to be honest. I'd probably just lean unders. I'm happy to stay away from this game completely from the spread. I'm good.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you.
It's a toss of a coin.
It's essentially a pick 'em. There's nothing to me with who's playing in this game that separates these two teams from each other. You got Warriors with the home field advantage, which obviously they have. It's like they take turns year by year, but this is one of the years that Mount Smart has been a fucking fortress, and it's not easy to go and win there. Raiders have played pretty good on the road. Warriors have kind of hung their hat on defense and holding teams to 16 and 20 and, really grinding it out when the going gets tough. But this Raiders team, for all their flaws, I just remembered something. When did these two teams play each other last?
It was Vegas when they got hammered.
Is this the Warriors' fucking chance to get revenge for?
It is, of
redeem
course.
themselves for going all the way to Vegas and getting hammered.
But look, in my reflection of screaming at Warriors every week, I tried to understand why they lost that game. And
they couldn't score.
They couldn't score, right? And Raiders that day didn't actually start Nicholson at all. They started fucking Hoskins or Dalian Mellis. Who's there now. But also, Warriors kind of got pinned back by their kicking game. And that's why I brought Fogarty into it. It's like, the last time this happened, Fogarty literally kept them in their half and they couldn't do anything. And they didn't have anything creative. And as much as Warriors fans might be like, you guys are 8-2, whatever, creativity in terms of scoring tries from your own half is not your fucking forte. And Raiders were able to do that in Vegas. And if you guys are expected to do that again, we may get the same fucking score. Because Raiders, as fucking terrible as they are some of the time, they do conjure some garbage and score from their own half.
Yeah, all the time.
Right? They always conjure something dumb.
They have the personnel for that, right? So, from my perspective, I think that kind of makes me lean Raiders.
Well, my tip will be Raiders, but I don't think I can play any side.
I think I can play Raiders.
They're going to lose to them again.
The way that Warriors defend their line, I feel like Raiders poses a specific challenge for them in terms of, all right, if there's a game you actually fucking need Fisher, Harris, and Barnett, it's this one, right?
Yeah,
because
true.
If you're going to go and allow the Raiders to play second phase footy again, I don't think you have the athletes out wide to contain Savage, Weeks, Timoko, even Seb Chris and
they don't have
been
the
pretty
speed,
good,
right? They don't have the speed.
That's kind of what gashed them in Vegas. And if anyone remembers, the turning point of that game was actually Savage's intercept try, which once he caught the ball, you were like, it's done. Like, no one can catch him on this team.
Yeah.
So I know the fucking Wires fans are going to be out for blood. It's going to be popping in that stadium come Sunday, but I feel like Raiders get them maybe 24-20 in the end. I feel like it's much closer than round one. I think there won't be much that separates the two teams, but those little 50-50 opportunity moments, I think Raiders have the personnel that can take advantage of it, and I'm not sure I can say the same.
I'm going overs in this game.
About the Warriors.
Whatever it is. I think there's going to be lots of points scored. Bit of a circus.
I hope you're right, but that pretty much wraps us up for the 5-game slate. of the shortened round. We will be coming to you boys with a separate Origin preview, which will be dropping, I want to say, maybe on Friday or Saturday. For those of you that are not that keen on this round, I wouldn't blame you, but we have an absolutely goated opener to start the Origin series this season, and I think the fact that Game 1 is in Queensland makes things a bit more interesting, Chris.
Of course, yeah.
Me and you will chat about that on a separate video, but for now, your 3 main things that you give a shit about this week, if you can even conjure that up.
Well, show some fucking heart, Dolphins, I feel like. There's no reason to get hammered by this Dogs team at all. Same kind of applies, but I think more desperately for Knights. Fucking wake up. And finally, I'd love to see how good these 2 teams are. I just want to see a good game of footy. They are top 4 teams. Realistically, it should be, and everyone's going to fucking crucify me in the comments. Realistically, you guys should be as good as the game of Sharks Melbourne last week because you're both top 4 teams, right? But we know we're not going to get that, even though you guys love to tell me how good both your teams are. But let's just get a good game out of these 2 games.
I feel like it will deliver. I'm pretty
I know it will deliver. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
In one way or another.
Yeah. My 3...
Well, this is Dolphins.
All right, what's the most important result of the round?
Well, actually,
Knights,
for you...
You are 1, 2, and 3 for me. I'm sorry.
No.
There's no other commentary from me.
Wouldn't you want Riles to get hammered?
No, he has no players. That's fine.
It's all right if you lose 100-0.
When Souths lost 50-0 to Knights, I didn't go and fucking be like, Souths, you guys suck. They had nothing. But for Knights to go and not cover 8 to that Penrith team, that's
the worst.
I think that will overtake Roosters not covering 12.5 in the prelim for me.
Oof.
I might get the lighter out.
Wow.
Do we have any Knights attire?
No,
it could be set on fire.
I could get you some just so you can set it on fire on Sunday.
Off. But outside of that, Dolphins wake up and mainly just put Parra away. I don't want to fucking see them cover and lose.
No, you know what? Sharks just win. I don't want to see Roosters win at all.
Yeah, there's no reason.
There's no reason for them.
Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that shortened episode. We'll chat to you boys in Origin talks a few nights from now, and then we'll be back for the review of this garbage round. Peace out. Go Knights. Wake up to yourselves.